watching the mystical green beanie.
Hey, what's going on, dudes and dudettes? I am the mystical green beanie, and I did a video talking about the Spider-Man Far From Home trailer teaser. Honestly, I can't tell the difference these days. Anyways, I watched the trailer for Far From Home. My immediate reaction was, wow, this looks kind of cool. It fixes some of the problems that I had with Homecoming, but it also retains some of the problems that I had with it as well. And after watching the trailer a few more times and having some social media interactions with people about it, some good, some not so good. Overall, just bad idea. Seriously, why did I do that to myself? That's my fault completely. But I'm starting to think that the Spider-Man that's been established in the Marvel Cinematic Universe isn't my Spider-Man, nor will he ever be. And that kind of sucks, because I really like the look of Tom Holland as both Peter Parker and Spider-Man. I think that he can play my Spider-Man from the comics. In fact, it's not even a question of me thinking that he can. I know that he can. He did it in Civil War during the scene where Tony Stark tries to recruit him, but ever since, he's just not been written or directed to be that Peter Parker. And speaking of the cast, I think Zendaya is amazing. I mean, she's been my celebrity crush since I was like 17, so I'm not sure if any praise I give her is sound because it comes from a completely skewed bias. But she's perfect casting for MJ. She can pull off both major iterations of the character. She can be the party girl supermodel as well as the brainy Janie version from the Ultimate Universe. And the larger cast is great too. I don't even have a problem with the casting of Flash Thompson. I did at first, but I've come around on the idea of him being a schmarmy rich kid douchebag in this iteration. So none of my problems are with the casting. My problems lie with the direction and just some of the creative liberties that are taken with these characters. And it's not that I'm against the stories that are being told. In fact, I think that on paper, going off of the most basic of basic generalizations when summarizing both Homecoming and Far Home, they adhere to and play with classic Spider-Man themes. Homecoming is a story in which Peter is put against a blue-collar criminal who wants to stick it to the man, and in this case, the man is Peter's mentor, Tony Stark, who's the epitome of white-collar. And Peter's arc throughout that film is him trying to figure out how to be his own man and how to be the superhero that he wants to be. Meanwhile, based off the trailer and what little information that we do have regarding Far From Home, that film is going to tackle the idea of being a fraudulent hero, pitting Spider-Man against an antagonist who's playing the role of a superhero, but only for the fame and fortune, and they don't have their heart in the right place. Which again, on paper, is classic Spider-Man. However, it's the ways in which they choose to present these ideas and themes which don't really work for me, because, to be fair, while they are borrowing material from Spider-Man's history, the stuff they're choosing to adapt either comes from Spider-Man pop culture mythology that I just don't like, or Spider-Man lore that I think was a misstep for the character in the first place. And I'll say this again because I said it in my retrospective review for Homecoming, which I guess then technically I will say, because my retrospective series for the Spider-Man films is being recorded months in advance from when I'm actually releasing them. But anyways, in my review for Homecoming, I say that Peter Parker is one of the most layered, well thought out, complex characters in American comics. And I feel as though the creative hands behind the Marvel Cinematic Universe have taken the most superficial approach to his character when adapting him by saying, well, you know, he's a teenage superhero in a larger established Marvel universe, and that's core Spider-Man. That's the idea of Spider-Man. Yeah, that's totally it. And technically, that's not untrue, but that character logic can also apply to 80% of the X-Men, Nova, well, the two that actually matter, Miss Marvel, Miles Morales, Kate Bishop, Johnny Storm, Cloak and Dagger, Squirrel Girl, Speedball. I mean, that mold can fit quite a few characters in the Marvel Universe, But the thing that's unique and cool about Spider-Man, specifically Peter Parker Spider-Man, is that the reason why he's a superhero, and quite frankly, was dealing with grown-up matters at such a young age, is because he was forced to grow up faster than his fellow peers. He made a costly mistake that haunted he and Aunt May for years. And behind a lot of the goofiness and fun that comes with watching Spider-Man beat up supervillains and crack jokes to ease the tension is a lot of angst and tragedy and anger that just doesn't seem to be present in this version of Spider-Man on film outside of his inaugural scene. And I'm not trying to say that you can't have a fun Spider-Man movie, but what I am saying is that when it comes to Spider-Man, you can't have the comedy and ignore or brush over the tragedy that informs the character of Peter Parker. As for Spider-Man Far From Home itself, it looks fun, it looks decent, although I will say my issue, just conceptually with Far From Home, is that it's a film in which Peter Parker is plucked out of New York and goes on a globe-trotting adventure throughout Europe. Now, I don't have a problem with Spider-Man traveling. In fact, it's something that he does in the comics from time to time, but there are two problems that I have with it. Them being, A, in the end of Spider-Man Homecoming, he makes the conscious decision to be a friendly neighborhood Spider-Man. That would indicate that in the sequel, the film would focus on Spider-Man and his relationship with the city, and him operating on a smaller scale. What we see in the trailer for Spider-Man Far From Home indicates the exact opposite of that. And B, piggybacking off of that last point, this is the fourth film in the Marvel Cinematic Universe in which Spider-Man is traveling and having an adventure outside of New York. And just for context, in this franchise, Spider-Man has had 4 Marvel Cinematic Universe appearances as Spider-Man. The dude's been to Germany, he's been to Washington, D.C., he's been to outer space! Look, I understand that Marvel Studios is trying to be different, but now it just feels like they're trying too hard. Also, can we scale it back on the high-tech suits, please? Seriously, why does Spider-Man glide in these movies? If he has the ability to glide, why does he need to web swing? I mean, I get that you're trying to homage the web wings under his arms, but that was just an aesthetic little thing. It served no purpose. Why? Oh, this is so stupid. Whatever, dude. At least the joke with Flash Thompson at the end of the trailer was funny. Anyways, look, the movie's 6 months out, and after all, this was just a teaser, so for all I know, this movie could completely subvert my expectations, and I'm more than willing to be proven wrong. In fact, I want to be proven wrong. I want for the people in charge of these movies to get these characters and truly understand what makes them special. And I guess the real source of my frustration comes from the fact that when it was first announced that Spider-Man was going to be a part of the Marvel Cinematic Universe, I was more so expecting his films to be more like that of the Ultimate Spider-Man comics, but what we got instead was something more akin to the Ultimate Spider-Man cartoon from Disney XD. That said, Far From Home looks like it'll be, at the very least, a well-made, fun movie, just like Homecoming was a well-made, fun movie. And like I said, hopefully when Far From Home releases in theaters, I find that my expectations were subverted and I really enjoy the film. But what about you? What did you think of the Far From Home trailer? Or teaser, much rather. Seriously, what's the difference between the two anymore? But, you know, what are your thoughts regarding that? What are your thoughts regarding Spider-Man in the MCU? What are your thoughts regarding my thoughts on Spider-Man in the MCU at this point in time? Let me know down below in the comment section. Also, if you like this video, hit the like button, share, support the channel, and if you want to see more content like this, all you have to do is subscribe. I'm the Mystical Green Beanie. Thank you for watching, and as always, until next time, adios nachos, adios.